Okay, I'm also going to put myself on, turn my camera off just so that it doesn't disrupt the screen here. Okay, here we go. Well, welcome, ladies. Welcome so much to, hold on, there we go. Welcome to what I like to call Thriving Through the Change. This is an incredible journey for me. I know that for a lot of people, it may not be, and my heart is with all of you. I have been going through the change for maybe about 5 years now. And in that process, I've learned so much about myself, my body, and then just about menopause in general, right? Just such an avid learner. And so I'm always looking at ways to, Frank used to call it debunk. So I like to debunk things, right? When I think that something doesn't have to be a certain way, I like to go out there and find another answer or an alternative. And so that's what I did a lot through this process of going through the change. But for those of you that may not know me, I think everybody knows me on this call, but just a little bit of a background here. You guys all know I'm a widow. And honestly, like a lot of my symptoms, or maybe even the first time I ever experienced or realized that I was going through menopause was after Frank died. And so it kind of got me on this journey of not only healing my heart but also healing my body in many ways of not really understanding, right, what I was going through. And so I'm going to be talking about maybe some things that you all are familiar with, and then maybe there might be some things in my journey that you were thinking, wow, I didn't realize that that was a symptom. So we are all very different in how we are going through this change, but also very relatable in a lot of the things that we're going through. So I'm going to talk a lot about uniqueness and individuality. But again, all of these things are relatable. And so I'm very excited to share all of this with you guys. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so there are definitely stages of menopause. I don't even know why this diagram shows premenopause. That's basically just the beginning of when we get our periods and just kind of like the normal stages of being a woman, right? When our reproductive organs are going in full force, right, for most women. And then we go through what we call the stage of perimenopause, which is really the beginning stages of going through the change of life. This is really where most of us will start to feel a lot different inside our bodies, getting symptoms that we are not necessarily familiar with, and it can bring on many different feelings, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. And then menopause, right? So as I go through this presentation, I will just be referring to all of it as menopause, whether it's menopause or post-menopause, right? So menopause is usually around the first year of not having your period is when they say that you are truly in a menopause state. And then post-menopause is when you haven't had your period for like 2 years or more. And again, these are just statistics that are out there. There really isn't a black and white about this. One of the things that I also learned going through this process is that it isn't a medical condition, right? This is really the change of life that us women go through. And so it's extremely important for us to embrace it, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? So don't worry about all of the different symptoms that are showing on this diagram here. We're going to talk about some of those as we move through the presentation. So menopause comes with many different types of symptoms, but also physical changes to the body, right? So you've got all of that, plus you've got the psychological changes that we're going through, or the psychological symptoms that we start to feel, and then what we call the systemic changes to our body, right? The weight gain or the heavy night sweats. So, these are kind of categorized into different types of symptoms and changes that we go through only to help us, right? To help us kind of understand what our body is going through. There's so many out there. Some of us may have experienced the same ones. There may be other ones that you're going to probably be like cringing in your chair going, oh my God, am I the only one that felt that? Like no one else feels that. So we're not going to be able to cover all of those changes on this call, of course, because we're only on here for 30 minutes, but I am going to cover some of the more common ones, right? Based on what some of you guys had replied to the email. So for those of you that did, thank you very much. And for those of you that didn't, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were talking about what was going to bring you guys the most value, right? Because I don't want to talk about only my symptoms and then you guys are feeling something else. So I picked the top 5 that we women normally would go through as we're going through the change. So I'm going to lump this together with not only the symptoms, but what are some of the causes, right? One of the things that I realized through my journey is that the symptoms are definitely avoidable, but even if we get them, we can definitely reduce them or eliminate them altogether just by doing different things and understanding what is causing those symptoms, okay? So the first symptom that we're going to talk about are the hot flashes and the night sweats, right? Drop in the chat if you suffer from hot flashes and night sweats. I want to know who is suffering from all of this. I misspelled symptoms. Oh, sorry. Yes, definitely me. Okay. Yep. All right. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yes. I think we talked about that before, right, Sheila? Yeah, so night sweats and hot flashes are definitely a very common one. And it's one that we as women know for sure that, oh my goodness, I'm starting to have hot flashes or I'm starting to have night sweats. I believe now I'm going through the change, right? So what are some of the things that cause these hot flashes and night sweats? Well, first of all, let's kind of understand why we have them in the first place and why we have them a lot, right? So first of all, we get them because it's one of those things that our body's going through, the hormonal changes, right? So studies have shown that when we have lower estrogen levels, it affects the part of our brain that provides this thermostat for our body temperature. So if we have low levels of estrogen, then our body now is telling our brain that we are hot, right? And so how can we reduce that or maybe even eliminate it altogether? Well, the first one is understanding, are we putting things into our body or having lack of things that may be causing us to have more hot flashes or more night sweats, right? So if you're getting hot flashes and night sweats, and I know a lot of us are chamorros on this call that love spicy food, but get curious and maybe eliminate that from your diet and see if that can help with reducing the hot flashes and the night sweats that you experience. The other thing is caffeine. Guys, I don't know about you, but I love my coffee every morning and I still haven't given it up, by the way. But I've I've learned to reduce how much caffeine I take into my system. So again, it could just be as little as just reducing some of these things that you consume versus eliminating them altogether. But the key is understanding what your body is experiencing. So, for example, if you eat a lot of spicy food and all of a sudden you are taking that down to very minimal to nothing, and then you realize, oh, my hot flashes, I'm not getting them daily like I used to, or wow, I actually slept through the night and didn't have a night sweat. Maybe you're onto something, right? And that spicy food was actually triggering those hot flashes and night sweats. Or the caffeine, same thing. The other part to that is dehydration. Ladies, I cannot stress how important it is for us to drink a ton of water, okay? A ton of water while we are going through this change. Like water is important to the health of our bodies in general, but we become more dehydrated because of what our body is going through. The hormonal changes that our body goes through literally does put us a lot of times in a dehydration state. So it's so important to drink a lot more water than what you're used to. So dehydration also can bring those hot flashes and night sweats back. Because remember, you're sweating, so you're releasing all of that water. So you have to rehydrate your body, right? So dehydration is also one of those things that could cause you to have a lot more than what you maybe is normal, right, to have. Um, and then stress. Stress is always a huge factor in having any type of symptom when it comes to menopause. You will see that I have stress on every single slide as we go through this presentation. Okay, and then we'll talk a little bit about what kind of stress all of that is about. All right, so the next one, weight gain and low metabolism. All right, drop in the chat again. Who here has put on weight? Who had or has a menopause belly, right? Anybody? Anybody put on weight? Me, yes. Anybody else? OMG, yes. Me. Okay, very common, right? Very common in going through the change. Right? Can't lose it. Yes, I agree, Becky. That is definitely a really big one for some people. But Bobby, you're lucky. Not really. Good for you, girl. Good for you. See, again, this shows the uniqueness of all of us, right? Not everybody's going to be experiencing this. And so lucky you, girl. So weight gain and low metabolism is definitely one of the more common ones that we as women that are going through the change suffer from. Incorporated workout. Yes, that is definitely important. So let's talk about what causes the weight gain and the low metabolism, right? So first of all, the stress of hormonal changes and coping with your day-to-day general, day causes and produces this chemical called cortisol, right? So cortisol actually leads us to crave. And craving normally comes in the form of wanting to eat sweet stuff, right? So the craving of sweets. This is what the chemical cortisol actually produces in the brain and tells you, I need to eat something sweet. I need something like sugar. So when you think about, like, for example, our ancestors, right? A long time ago when processed sugar didn't exist, when women were going through the change, they were able to curb this craving or give into this craving by eating fruits, natural fructose, natural sugars, right? So clue, maybe that's what you do when you are craving something sweet, and go for the alternative of the healthy sweeteners like fruits versus getting something like candy or cakes or processed desserts, things like that, right? Our day-to-day life, right? We live in a world where everything is so fast. Our life is just super fast. Everybody is multitasking. We always feel like we cannot have enough hours in a day to do the things that we need to do. So what do we end up doing? We end up grabbing on the go, right? And usually when you're grabbing on the go, what is the closest or what is the fastest? Processed food, junk food, fast food, foods that are high in carbs. And so a lot of times this also will contribute to your weight gain and also lead to you having low metabolism. And the other thing about eating these unhealthy foods is it can also affect your mood, right? And so you'll have low mood because maybe you're eating or giving into your craving of sweets. You have this high energy, this high spike in sugar, and then all of a sudden you drop real low, right? And then your mood goes low. So what do? We end up looking for something else again to chew, to eat. This is our body, our brain telling us, I'm tired, I need energy. So you're growing and you're just kind of repeating that cycle. The other thing that leads to weight gain is diets, right? Diets, ladies, there is no one size fits all when it comes to diets. And so it's one of those things where, we put ourselves on this restrictive type of eating lifestyle. And when we restrict ourselves, it causes a lot more stress and irritability, affecting your mood, your energy, because we think that we have to go on this diet in order for us to lose weight. And diets don't necessarily work for everybody. And that's because there is, again, no one size fits all when it comes to diets. So when we're looking at restricting ourselves, it really does cause a big dip in our blood sugar levels. hence we go and we crave for more things to boost our energy. And a lot of times we're grabbing, again, sugar and low processed food. So it is a vicious cycle that kind of happens in our lives when we are going through the change. The other thing is we're not eating enough nutrient dense foods, right? So alternatives, not restricting yourselves, but maybe reaching for alternatives to the type of foods that you're eating. Eat whole foods, eat healthier foods. There's always alternative to sweets. There's always alternatives to breads. There's so much out there that you can have alternatives and get curious and really understand what's going on in your body. Again, stress shows up on the slides. Why? Because stress is a huge factor as our body goes through these hormonal changes. But stress also affects our body's capability to not only digest, but use the nutrients that you are getting from the foods that you eat. So, for example, if you are eating when you are upset, emotional eating, doesn't matter if you're eating healthy, your body is now in this place of stress. We call it fight or flight mode, right? Where it is struggling, right, to get you into a calmer state. And so it's going to protect you, is what we call it. So fight or flight means that your body is now trying to protect you from the stresses that's going on in your body. If you've ever heard that analogy of running from a saber-toothed tiger, right? Or being stressed out for something at work, maybe got into a fight with someone, maybe your other half, your significant other. Your brain doesn't know the difference between physically running for your life or stressed out because you just had a bad argument, right? So stress in the body will put you in constant fight or flight mode. And, a lot of the clients that I work with in my health coaching practice always talk about the stress that they're going through in their life. And once we start working through what are some of these stressors that they're going through, it allows their body to now start to process their foods and allow the nutrients to actually go into the different organs that are needing the nutrients that the body needs in order for it to thrive in a healthy environment. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Fatigue and lack of motivation, right? Fatigue and lack of motivation. I know some of you had answered that in the email. And so again, hormonal changes, right? This is a natural process that we're going through as we're going through the change. But what are some of the causes that cause us to be tired all the time, out of breath? Maybe just lack motivation, not just physically, but even mentally, right? Like you just don't feel like doing anything, right? A lot of that also can be from the foods that you eat. If you're starting to eat energy draining foods, all of the unhealthy stuff, that can also lead you to not have clarity and focus in your day, not have good energy. And so now you're just tired, or you lack, your mood is just down. You just lack motivation in everything. Dehydration also is coming back up again, right? Dehydration, again, the body is under stress as the hormones are adjusting through the change of life. And so it's important, again, to always hydrate yourself. Fatigue is also an indication that you need to drink a lot more water. Low iron and vitamin D. This is extremely important. I don't live here, but I mean, I'm here in Washington with my girls, and Washington is one of the gloomier states. And so it's so important. I always tell them, and they're only in their 20s, like, make sure you guys take a vitamin D supplement. It's so important. But imagine us, right, going through the change. So we're like, 30, 40 years, they're senior, and it needing to have more of that vitamin D. So we can get that from the sun. Absolutely. Those of you on Guam, take advantage of the sun, soak in the sun, go to the beach, go for walks, right? Even if it's 15, 20 minutes a day that you're allowing the sun to just, soak into your body, that is pure vitamin D. And it's amazing to what you're going through, especially if you're suffering from fatigue or lack of motivation. If you ever heard someone that is depressed or going through really sad times in their life, their vitamin D levels already in their body are low. And so they need to increase that. So whether you're taking a supplement or getting it from the sun, right, which is the best way to get it, vitamin D is important if you're suffering from fatigue or lack of motivation. Low iron is another one. I've always been borderline anemic. It's kind of genetic in my family, in our line of women. And so as I was right before, actually, I was going through perimenopause, my periods were really, really heavy. And so during that time of the month, I always just lacked energy. But you know, a big part of that too, guys, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, is your mindset. And I literally told myself, oh, when I have my period, I'm not going to go to the gym and work out because I'm going to lack energy and I'm just not going to feel good and I'm not going to be strong enough. So on those heavy days, I'm not going to go to the gym. And I made that okay for myself, right? That's self-limiting belief. That is self-talk that could be more destructive than it can be helpful, right? So just watch your iron levels. If you know that you are losing a lot of blood, if you're still in that stage of the journey, if you've already done with your periods and you're not worried about that, that's cool too, right? But just understand like what your body is going through. And if you've ever been anemic or borderline anemic, then you might want to talk to your doctor about taking a iron supplement. Stress comes up again. Stress is always a big factor in all of the symptoms that we experience as we go through the change. Headaches and migraines. This was at the top of my list. I will tell you that. But I was experiencing migraines prior to going through the change. I had no idea that this also contributed even more so as my hormone levels started to fluctuate and change in my mid 40s. So when you're having headaches and migraines, ladies, I also want to just remind you that if you're getting these very frequently, this is something that you may want to go see your doctor about as well, because it's not normal. I remember when I was working for the airlines and I was working in HR and I was the administrator over FMLA, and a lot of people would come in with their FMLA paperwork because they were down for like days with a migraine. And I never suffered migraine for that long. I was probably down for maybe a few hours, but I was never down for like a full day or even several days. I had one person come in and say they were literally down for like 9 days. And I'm thinking, is this person lying? Or is that like really true? Like it just blew my mind. It's not normal. Okay. Laying down and having a migraine for long periods of time, like days on end, is not normal, right? Even if you're going through the change, I highly recommend that you go see your doctor and figure out why you're getting those migraines or those headaches for those long periods of time. The other thing that can contribute to those headaches and migraines is caffeine. Um, Caffeine, tea, even fizzy drinks, right? So sodas, sparkling water, those also can lead to headaches and migraines as you're going through the change. So one of those things where you want to get curious and just maybe try and reduce some of that if that is in your normal diet, and see if that helps to eliminate some of the headaches and migraines that you get. Dehydration always is, right? Even before the change, if you have a headache, that was always the first thing my mom would say was, how much water did you drink today? Have you drank any water? Because I was always one person that never really drank a lot of water when I was younger. I drank more sodas or teas, sweet teas, juices, things like that. And so it was always, stop drinking that stuff and go and get some water. This is why you're getting a headache. And so dehydration is a big part of that. And then there's also stress, right? Stress in the body also will create you to have those headaches and migraines. So many different factors that can contribute to your headaches and migraines. But again, please see your doctor if you're getting those very frequently or for long periods of time. All right, so let's talk about sex and relationships, because this is a big part, right? I talk to a lot of different women about their relationships in their lives when we go through my program, my life coaching program. And when it comes to us going through the change, this is big, right? Because we are going through a lot of physical changes in our body, right? We talked about the weight gain. We talked about, the lack of motivation, irritability, mood, right? The hot flashes, the night sweats, all of that doesn't make us feel good. And so when it comes to our relationship, a lot of times this is impacted, right? But then there's other things that can also impact vaginal dryness, right? So what causes vaginal dryness? So the changing levels again of the estrogen can reduce the amount of protective, what they call protective mucus that is secreted in the vagina, right? This results in itching and irritation and infections. Sometimes you might even notice like there's a change in your smell as well, right? So pay very close attention to these things if you are suffering from them. The reduction of the mucus can also alter the acidity in the vagina, leading to an imbalance in the friendly bacteria. And this can also cause problems, right? Can cause you to have a vaginal infection of some sort, right? One of the things that I have learned in helping to keep your vagina healthy through this stage is to do daily Kegel exercises. What this does is it helps to improve the blood flow in the pelvic area. I didn't talk about this here, but I'll just bring it up really quickly. Urination, right? A lot of times as we get to this age, our pelvic floor starts to also drop a little bit. And so we can't hold our pee as long as we used to. We shouldn't be holding our pee anyway. But, we laugh about this in my family because my mom and my aunts and, lots of other cousins of mine have, we're talking and we're laughing, and all of a sudden everybody's peeing on themselves, right? It was a big joke in my family. But in all seriousness, this could be one of the symptoms that we're going through, is because we do not have healthy pelvic muscles, right? And so that is really important. I've actually always talked about Kegel exercises even before the change, but so important as you're going through the change, especially if you don't want to have those accidents and you don't want to get to that stage in your life where you have to maybe wear Depends and things like that, right? Do yourself a favor and do those Kegel exercises daily. Low libido, same thing, right? The levels of your proestrogen, it can create a lot of your sex drive to literally go out the window, right? But not only that, right? What happens? We lose confidence when we start to gain weight, we gain that menopause belly, we don't feel very sexy. So a lot of times we don't want to have sex with our partner, right? Or we have those mood swings. Like, how many of you have looked at your other half, your significant other, your partner, your husband, and go, God, I can't stand looking at you right now. Like, you like irritate me, right? And so those mood swings also can create a strain in your relationship, and not wanting to have sex, right, with your partner. And then there's stress, right? Your day, you have had a long day, then you have to, maybe take care of the kids or the grandkids if that's the case. And what happens? You're so tired. Who has time for sex, right? Who's thinking about sex at that moment? You just want to take a shower, take a bath, maybe lay down and go to bed, right? But yet he's waiting, waiting on the bed and waiting for you, right, to get some. And so it's so important, guys, that when you're going through this, and if you are experiencing that, right, relationships are so key, right, in our lives. And I know that, especially if you're married, you do not want to affect your relationship in that way. And a lot of times we think, well, our husbands or our partners should know that I'm going through this, right? A lot of times they don't. And even if you do tell them, they maybe really don't understand it in a way that they need to understand it. And so communication is key. Having those conversations when you're not in one of those mood swing times in your day, maybe that pillow talk at night, but doing other different things. And we can talk about that on another workshop, when we can talk about how to enhance your relationship so that sex doesn't go out the window, or that you can enjoy it, right? Because vaginal dryness is real. It makes pain, it makes sex painful, right? So hence it brings down your libido. You don't want to have sex because it doesn't feel good anymore. So many different factors that can come into play here. But if you love your partner, right, this is very, very important for you to understand what your body is going through and to communicate it with him, so that you can both be in a place where you have peace and joy, and are still connecting in ways that you can connect, even if you're going through certain physical changes in your body. I know we are a little bit over time, so I apologize. I hope you guys can stick with me for just a few more minutes. We're coming up to the end here. So I want to talk a little bit about mental and emotional stress, or mental and emotional health. This is my superpower. This is my secret in how I conquered and combated my symptoms of perimenopause. And honestly, if it wasn't for, going through that healing journey of grief, I would not have been equipped to deal with the emotional and the mental aspect of the change. And so I realized that all of the things that I talked about, eating correctly, right? Bobby said exercise, get some sort of fitness in. Those are all key components in making sure that you are going through the change in a very positive environment, putting your body in that state of good health. But your good health doesn't just rely on good food and exercise, right? Because I've also spoken to many women that have said, I eat healthy, I work out like crazy, and nothing is changing. I get on the scale and it is exactly the same. Totally hear you. And I get that. We talked about the low metabolism, we talked about the weight gain, right? We talked about the stresses that your body go through. So the piece that a lot of women are missing is dealing with the mental and the emotional stress that they are putting their bodies through. And it isn't just from going through the change, it is all the stuff that has happened prior to you going through this change. Yes, we have a lot of emotional junk, emotional things that maybe we haven't healed from even as far back as our childhood, but we also have self-limiting beliefs. We give ourselves this negative self-talk. We have bad habits that we have picked up over time that affect our mindset, right? And so we have a very negative mindset, maybe in a lot of different areas of our life, maybe not all areas of our life, but all of these things cause stress. So the stress that I talked about in every single slide is not just the, the mental stress, but it is the physical stress and it is the emotional stress. So all the different stresses that our body goes through, right? So being able to understand and have a good relationship with your food and your body is key. Working out is so important, ladies, because as we go through these later part of our life, in fact, both men and women, starting at the age of 30, start to lose muscle mass, right? But even more for us, it's not just the muscle mass; it's our bones that start to get brittle, right? And so osteoporosis is very common in women in the post-menopause stage. Do you have to go through that? No, you don't. Can you combat that, or can you stop yourself from getting to that place before you even get to that age? You absolutely can, right? So the mental and emotional health was my secret weapon in combating all of these things, in addition to eating healthy and working out, right? But again, you have to have that energy, that mood. You have to want to do that. You have to make those choices in your life to do that. All right, so we are out of time, and I apologize for that, but I get so excited. I could talk about this stuff all the time, just like I could talk about grief all the time. I could talk about health and wellness all the time, right? This is just the life that I live. This is the journey that I'm on now. And so I want to offer you guys something special today, right? This was a free workshop today, but there's so much more that we can talk about. And again, we are all unique individuals. So our journey into menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause is all going to be unique to each of us. Very relatable, but there are going to be certain things that we need to do to make our journeys worth it and be able to thrive through the change. So this is, let's talk about what this special offer is here. Okay, so the first thing is that you'll get a free lifetime membership into 50 is the New Wellness Club. Some of you are already in the club, so we'll talk about how this is going to translate into what you're already going to be getting, right, from the club. The next one is that you'll get free access to all the women workshops that I'm going to be doing, right? So if you come into the club and you take advantage of this special offer, you won't have to pay moving forward, right? This is the one time that I was going to give this workshop for free, but moving forward, it's going to be longer and there's going to be so much more details in the workshops. And so these will now become paid workshops. The next thing is you'll also get a free coaching session from me. So uniqueness and individuality, right? What are some of the things that you're going through? What have you been going through? We can talk about that and I'll take you through a free coaching session. And then we can talk about what are the next steps, what is going to work for your unique journey through the change. right? But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what the club offers. But because the club is really where everything is happening, and Becky is a part of the club, and I don't know if anybody else jumped on here, but there's a few ladies that signed up that are a part of the club as well, right? So coming into the special offer, the value of it is about $1,300, right? A little bit over $1,300, and that's just for 1 year. You can come into this. It is March is Women History Month, right? So I'm offering, right, a Women History Month offer of $199.99. It's a one-time investment. You don't have to invest in this every single year. It's a one-time investment. However, because you guys came on this call, I want to even give you a better offer and tell you that in the next 48 hours, that you can take advantage of all of this for $129.99. It is a big value, right? Big investment, right? How many times have you paid for nails or hair? Like my daughter paid like crazy money for her hair to be dyed, right? It's a lot of money, several $100s. And it wasn't just one process, it was several processes, right? Or we go and we go to a spa, get a massage. We pay a lot of money for some of those self-care things that are only instant for that moment. This is a one-time investment, and I promise that you will have me at your service the entire time, right? So you and I will work together for as long as you want. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of the club really quickly. 50 is a New 30 Club is a club that I founded with my partner. He's not just my partner in business, but he's my life partner. We just got engaged last month. We just got engaged last month. And so Mick is he's a fitness coach. He's also a success coach. And you guys already know I'm a grief recovery specialist, and I'm also a certified wellness coach. That means that I am certified to teach both health and life coaching programs. And so together we brought our combined expertise as well as our experiences through our wellness journey, and we brought this into what we call our online wellness club. So we're not a fitness club, but we definitely will help people in that area. We're more than that, right? We talk so much about mindset and holistic health, so mind, body, and soul. Right now, we're in the middle of a challenge, a 30-day challenge. It's a fitness and nutrition challenge. Our club members are having so much fun with that. We have a private Facebook group. Mick and I share all kinds of things in there, from recipes to workouts to all kinds of mindset tips and tricks that you can have in your life. We do live and pre-recorded exercises. We talk about macros in depth because it's so important to understand how macros affects, your weight and managing that as well. We help you with a personal trainer. So even if you don't work with Mick in your fitness program, he can actually help you with developing a workout program that fits you through this app. And he prepares all of that for you and then teaches you how to use it. We also have an affiliate program. So if you know anybody that wants to come into the club, anybody that you share it with, you will also get an affiliate bonus for bringing or inviting someone in. And then all of the different programs, the paid programs that I have, whether they're health coaching, life coaching, grief recovery, women workshops, all of those things, if they cost money to the average person outside of the club, then you guys will get it for preferred pricing. But there's so much that we give away for free inside the club. We do a ton of workshops. We do a ton of Zoom calls. Like I said, we do all of these challenges, and normally our club members would pay $99 a year. You would get that at $129.99, and you would never have to pay that again. It's a lifetime membership into our club. So that is the end, guys. If you would like to take advantage of this offer, I will send this link into your email along with the ebook that I promised that I would send you just for registering and coming to this workshop. So the ebook talks a lot about stress and how you can reduce stress in your life, because stress is a big factor in going through the change and the amount of symptoms and the magnitude of the symptoms that you are experiencing. And then also, because we're recording this call, I will send you the recording of this call. So if I was talking too fast or there's something that you wanted to catch, you can definitely rewatch it again. But thank you, ladies, so much. I am going to stop this share really quickly. Thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, let me get my video on. I appreciate you guys staying on. I know I was on for a little bit longer than I had said I would be, but I appreciate all of you guys for being on for as long as you did. And I love all of you guys so much. I was so nice to see all of you guys. My friends from, oh my God, hi, Denise. I'm so glad you came on. I'm not sure how much you missed. Look at that, Daylene, Denise, guys, class of 90 right here. But thanks, you guys. We are in the golden years. And so, you know what? This is a time of our life where we do not have to settle for aches and pains and lack of mood and motivation and energy. This is really the time in our life where we can really thrive and do so much better. And I have proven that to myself and to so many people that it can be done. Right. So I would love to take you guys on this journey with me. I really would. So I will send you that email if you're willing to come and join me. I would love to have you. If not, thank you for coming anyway to this workshop. I love seeing all of your beautiful faces. Keep in touch. Okay, ladies, love you all so much. Have a great evening. I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.